Welcome to the Queens on Decks, where I interview female DJs from around the world. I am Michelle Miller, your host of the Royal Queens Rising podcast. We share our inspiring stories and secrets to our success. Hello, welcome. I'm DJ Run That, the host of the Queens on Deck show, where I interview amazing royal queens rising from around the world. Today I have a very special guest, Infinite Empress Rose Green from International Stars, who does so much. So we're going to just dive right in. I'm going to let her introduce herself because she does so many amazing things. Like, I wouldn't really know where to start. Okay, so I'm going to pass it on to you.
Thanks for that, the introduction. And yes, to the listening audience, she is correct. I get it all the time. How many jobs do you have? And if 24 hours is in my day, or is there a little bit more? But basically, I'm very talented. And to be frank with you, I never realized how talented I was until I was writing my book. I know persons always used to tell me, because whatever it is that I do, I always seem to rise to the occasion, So lots of different hats. As it pertains to my business, it's music, athletics, and arts. On the music end, I do a lot of things, so I will talk about that last. But on the athletics, I have trained for the Olympics as a sprinter. And so I do athletics. And training, I got injured in 2004, which I was immobile, couldn't walk for almost 2 years. And I stopped running. The doctors told me I had to stop running. So I stopped running, and I actually have my own track and field team. So I train athletes for national championships and the Olympics as well. Apart from that, I do have the sports show, which we'll talk about as it pertains to athletics. Now, for the arts, I manage the #1 visual artist out of Jamaica. He, does a lot of the artwork for the embassies, the airport, the prime minister's, house and stuff like that. And on the music end, I wear a lot of hats. I've been doing music ever since I can remember myself. I've started writing at a very young age, so I write for some of the artists as well. Because I've traveled extensively. My parents are within the medical profession, and I've traveled with both parents. I visited the world, so to speak. My dad basically was more on the African side, so I've traveled. I've been to every country except 2. I haven't been to Senegal or Zambia as yet. Those are the 2 countries I haven't been, but I've been to all the others before. And of course, being able to go through different countries, I speak 9 languages. So I'm able to write in different languages as well, which is what makes me have so many different artists that's on my music label across the world because of that. So yes, I have my own label. I do write songs, as well as I do make the beats, the rhythms that some of these artists are actually singing on. I actually engineer the tracks. A few years back, I won I Standard. I was the first female to win in Boston, that competition. I Standard is a famous beats competition. That's some of the judges are like Swiss Beats, Busta Rhymes, some of those guys. I was the first female to win over in Massachusetts.
That's amazing.
I got a list of podcasts. So I'm building an empire because I want, in 3 years, I wouldn't say I would stop working because I'm a workaholic, but in 3 years, I want to be able to start seeing all that investment in terms of time and money that I've, put into this business. So I have a plan, and one of the first plan is to go public next year. I was supposed to go public this year, but with all Corona and everything that has happened, I wouldn't say it has hurt my business 100%. It has actually helped in some regard, because I've learned new things and new talents that I wasn't even aware that I had. So 2022, I'm looking to go public, where I can buy stocks and bonds into the business. And as I say, I am just keeping a cool head and moving on with all these talents.
Wow. Oh
Yes.
God. I have chills. My whole body is like, wow, celebrating.
Yeah.
Seriously. Seriously. So
Yeah.
like I'm curious because I
Hmm.
have a little bit of a challenge sometimes figuring out where to put my energy, how to balance it all out. So like, how do you do it?
You know something, and to be frank with you, with COVID and everything that happened, I have so much different persons that I know within different industries of different profession, that sometimes I call on a few persons. And but to be frank with you, without even calling on those persons, I am a strong believer in, the man upstairs, and he has helped me got through this. And when my book comes out, I'll give you a copy of my book, and when you go through it, you'll see the list of things that I've gone through and that has landed me in this position right now. And I have to give all praise to the man upstairs, because if I didn't have him, I don't know that I could possibly be doing what I'm doing, as well as to carry on.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think keeping faith and believing in yourself like is kind of where it starts, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting. It's quite an interesting career, that it is that I've had. And with that itself, it has put me into certain light, in terms of things that I do. What can I say? It's not by luck, it's by hard work that talent is highlighted, So
Mhm.
I'm having people from all over the world that's contacted me during COVID to work with me. And I'm like, okay, it's COVID, and and I have to pinch myself. And again, I have to take the man upstairs, because where persons don't have a job and cannot find a job during COVID, it is that my income has doubled in COVID. It's quite interesting. So, but
Wow.
it's all those years of hard work that I've realized that it's all the hard work that I put in. It's just coming to fruition, and I just have to accept it, and learn to accept it, and and stay humble as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like I believe like if you just keep pushing and keep putting it out there even if you don't have the clarity, like clarity comes from taking action. And I also
Hmm.
just like remind myself like one of my words is trust. It's trusting that I am where I'm supposed to be. What I need will be provided. And then I think, okay, the universe, God will provide. So what's next for me? So if I just keep putting out good and just staying connected to my mission of, building this community of empowered queens, women rising up, like just doing the good, then what's going to come my way will be good. And I don't always know. I might think, oh, I want to do this. And then it will surprise me and be like, hey, how about this? like,
Yeah.
like the audio podcast. I always thought, oh, I want to do this as an audio podcast. This has always been an online show doing video interviews on Facebook. And I knew I wanted to turn it into an audio podcast. And once COVID hit, that time was right. I built a team and we launched it. So, like, you have so many things and it's like really inspiring and trusting in the higher power that you're gonna get what is right for you at the right time. You doubled your income during COVID. How many people can say that?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, I did an interview about a week ago. And during the interview, the guy had asked me a similar question. And I explained to him, and he says, well, how did that happen? And as I've said to him and other persons, is that it's like building a house and the foundation is there. And the rain comes, the storm comes, the snow comes, and what happens? If you build it perfect, then it can withstand anything. And so for myself, it is that the groundwork was already there. The clients, getting more clients was the time was right to get those clients because I had already put in the work. It's just like clockwork. Majority of things that I do, I've been doing them for so long. So it's like I'm not even working. 20% of the things that I do, I feel like I'm working. I've been writing songs. I've been in the studio for years. I've been building tracks for years. So those things are like nothing to me. And you know, I have always had persons ask me why it is that I don't do radio. I've had so much offers for radio and I wouldn't do radio. And as I started building my business, I said, okay, here is what my plan is each year. And I would set those goals. Right now, we're in 2020, but I'm working on 2023 goals right now. Yeah, that's how far ahead it is that I am in terms of setting a structure and saying 2021, here is what needs to happen. It's kind of like God put like a part between 2020 and 21 and said, you're moving too fast. Slow down. I want you to think about these things. And the things that I now do that are different this year. I'm not going to tell you, let me tell you something. 80% of what I've done since 2020 are new things. Those aren't things that I did before. It was my first time doing my documentary. I have 43 film nominations for a documentary. That it was my first time doing the documentary. It took me 6 hours on my phone to do the documentary. So when I tell a lot of the, like I won, so far there are 5 of those nominations that I've won. And I've won 2 of those nominations. And I've been placed in another 3rd one. But the others are all for 2021. Now, the thing about it is that I didn't know how to do a documentary. I have my own book that would have come out just before the Olympics because I was going to use that platform to release the book because I have a song that's written for the Olympics. So I said, okay, I'm going to use that platform to release the book. Well, here comes 2020. So now I had to think about, okay, what do I do now? My whole 2020 was planned out. I'm going to have a small documentary that's going to come out in March to tell people about give them insight to the book. The book is going to come out in July. My song is going to come out in July for the Olympics. And also did an album based on the book. So for persons, you know, some persons would like to probably listen to the album first versus the book, but the album will not come out until September. I had to change my whole perspective in everything that I do. So I ended up doing a documentary for one of the artists where I wrote and produced his album and wrote the lead song. I felt that there was a song that's missing to bring in all the songs that were on the album. And I wrote the anthropology song. After I finished writing the song, a lot of persons did not know what anthropology is about. And I decided that when COVID came, I had already booked 8 shows for him, but we had to cancel the shows because we couldn't travel. So what's my next move? Because I now have this album. Do I take it down? I was already making so much noise about it. Even you, who probably don't know, would have bought it. Like I was making so much noise about it and how great it was that I was like, no, I can't pull it back. So I decided to talk a little bit about what anthropology is about, how we came up with the title, and for the artist to give his perspective. And the artist is from Zimbabwe, and of course, I'm in the US. So to put the documentary together, I basically sent him a list of questions and just told them, here's what I want you to do, answer these questions, but what happens is that there's a drawback because in Zimbabwe, they only have electricity for 3 hours, and a lot of the world doesn't even know that. So they're turning on electricity from 10 p.m. to about 6 a.m. in the morning, 3 of those hours. The artist works between those hours. So it was a challenge to get the album done on time, much more for him to record this. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Just use the sunlight and record what I asked you to do. And then when he sent it to me, I went and I did some additional work to it and put it all together, did the documentary, like I said, on my phone, and put it out there. And then the calls just kept on coming in to the point where I've even gotten offers to teach anthropology to a few colleges as well as ethnomusicologists for, some music departments. And I was like, I didn't see that coming as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's so fascinating. Thank you for sharing that. And like, I did not
Yeah.
know that about Zimbabwe, but I have actually made a connection with Zambia, and they wanted to have me come out and speak at a National Art Council conference last year. And I'm sad it didn't happen because with COVID, we can't go anywhere. But I know
Mhm.
I always kept the faith like it's going to happen. And I made some links. I interviewed 8 female DJs from Zambia, and we stay connected, and like the music is so big over there and powerful. And I was actually on a sales call with a woman from Africa recently, and she wanted to join my business mastermind, but we were talking about how like family is always priority for us, as moms. And she said she didn't have a roof on her head, but she wanted to find a way to actually pay me because she valued what I was offering. And that just touched my heart so big and made me feel like, you know what? No queen left behind. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
you don't have a roof, but you want to find a way for us to work together. Like, that was like so powerful. And like, yeah, so really cool. Like, no excuses. You made it work. You guys found a way. You made the documentary on your phone within 6 hours. Like, incredible. Incredible.
Not 6 hours. I'm sorry, not 6 hours, 6 days.
Oh, 6 days. Close.
6 days. 6 days, yes. 6 days. So it's a short film, and it's 28 minutes long, and it's called Making Anthropology Album. So the funny thing is, on day 3, I received a call, and this person was from a huge film company. And they said to me, somebody reached out to me and told me about your short film. And I went and I watched it. And the lady was speaking for about 5 minutes, and I wasn't saying anything. And she says, I could feel the energy through the phone. Why are you so sad about, as she says, I'm guessing that you're upset or you're probably disappointed because the video is showing that 200 and something persons watched it. Am I right? And I said, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed because I worked on the music end, and when I put out something, gets more response than that on YouTube. And she says, let me tell you something. Nobody doesn't want to watch a film right now. It's COVID. So the fact that 288 persons go over there and watch a documentary, she said the music video is like 3 minutes. This documentary is 28 minutes. Do the math. The fact that 288 people go over there to watch it shows that you got something. It's not about how much persons watch it. It's about the right people seeing it. That's what she said to me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now that stayed with me. The song was able to go number 1. It was number 1 in the UK on the iTunes and Apple charts. And Amazon, it went to number 12. And to be frank with you, I think it's more of the film community that got it from watching it, because of the documentary that I did that got it there to number 1. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. However they got there, I was number 1. I did that.
Yeah, you did that. It is important to like track numbers, and I was just talking to my team about this morning. Like, we were looking at the charts for this podcast, and we've had over 1,300 downloads, and we've been a podcast for a little over 4 months. And I was like, that's a win. That's huge. Like, thank you.
It is a win.
Yeah, it's a big win. And it really is not about the numbers, as important as it is to track them. It's about you're making an impact, and in big or small, like, that's powerful, and that's motivation. Yeah. And that's the goal, really, is to just inspire, motivate, like, people to just do your thing. And you're doing your thing, all the things. You have 5 podcasts. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So I've only been podcasting for 2 years, believe it or not. And as I think about the different things and the connections to the business, and in terms of growing, I set goals in terms of, on the music and athletic and everything, and the arts end. So I really wasn't going to go into podcasting actually, but I did. People have been asking me for years to do radio, and I said no. I just cannot be tied down, so I don't want to do it. And I have a friend of mine over in Europe. He asked me to do a jingle, and I said okay. So I did the jingle, and then I woke up the next morning to all these messages, and I'm like, what is going on? It was people reaching out to him and said, who the hell is that? I love her voice. Who is that? They kept on asking him. And he said, see, I've been telling you to do radio and you refuse to do it. So then I thought about it. I said, well, if I'm going to do radio, it has to be done my way, because I do so much different things that I do not like to disappoint people. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I don't want to tell somebody I'm going to be on their show and then I can't, because I'm everywhere. So I said, if I'm going to do it, it has to be done my way. So I decided that going to do top 10, because I know so much artists in different countries across the world. So I started with a top 10, and that is called the Global M&E Report Show. Doing the top 10, it includes a section where it is that I'll give pointers on different things in the music. And it took off, where it is that someone at Spotify heard my show and they're like, they called me up, and I was like, who are you? So, you know, and from there on, it went from there to, you know, all the other different networks, and its show started to grow. And then, so I have the Global M&E, and as I do everything in terms of music and my label, I decided to do a one-on-one music review show. The one-on-one music review show is currently number 31 on the top 100 podcasts over in, I don't remember, but I will give you that data later. But I think it's over, and I want to say Ireland that it is right now. So what happened is the one-on-one music review, if an artist is coming out with their single, their album, or their EP, I do the interviews and give my review based on the song or whatever, what my thoughts are. And I'm very blunt when it comes to that. You know, it's not because it's my show, I'm going to tell you something sounds good that doesn't sound well. So, and as a producer, I can give my input based on the sonic quality or the clarity or quantity of the songs. So, yeah. So got a one-on-one music review. And then because I was getting so much submissions, because we average between 800 to 1,200 music submissions a month. That's a lot. At one point, I got so overwhelmed that I was practically pulling out my hair. When I started the podcast, I started a podcast with two cell phones. Two cell phones. I could not get into my studio for reasons that I won't say, but I used two iPhones to record the show, and people didn't even know that's what I was doing. And I started getting so much material. Like once it got to 300, I was like, what the hell am I doing? How am I getting 300 submissions? And it started to grow. So now we average between 800 to 1,200 submissions. And so I do not like to disappoint persons. So I have a DJ in New York that I've managed for years, a Jamaican DJ. So I said, okay, let's create a show around these. And I could have you just juggle for 40, 45 minutes. We call it the Weekend Vibes. And I put this show on, and this show ended up doing better than my top 10 show, because even some of the artists in Jamaica, they are listening to the show all the time, because some of them actually know him. So there we got Weekend Vibes. And then the fourth one is called Music Pulse Africa. I created that one where I have different artists and to do different interviews across Africa as well, because I've just been doing Africa forever. So I included different DJs that are within Africa on that platform. So when I do a release, the DJ in Kenya, Zimbabwe, Ghana, South Africa, Malawi, all those DJs goes through a routine where they interview them there as well, and do other interviews within the US and everywhere else as well. So it helps. And then the fifth one is the Sports World 2020. That one I created for the Olympics. But since the Olympics didn't happen, I turned it into a podcast for athletes, struggling athletes, so they could know about other athletes as well, and just how it is that they got through hard times and was able to train and make it to the Olympics. And that show got me a film nomination just after one season. I'm just in second season, and at the end of season one, we got 3 nominations, and we are now an award-winning show because we did win the award. We did do that as well. So Sports World 2020 is now an award-winning show. We won that through the Urban Media Makers Film Festival as well. So there it is in a nutshell. Five podcasts. That's it.
Whoa, I can only imagine. You know, I have thought about doing a different one, but I'm good with my one for now. But that is inspiring. And you have an upcoming virtual conference?
I do.
Let's talk about
So I created a conference 4 years ago called Bridging the Gap. Originally it was Bridging the Gap Music Conference, which is on the reggae end. There is, you know, I'm Jamaican, but on the reggae end, there's not a professionalism as it pertains to the music itself. A lot of the other genres, they're professional in their doing, between marketing, between bookings and everything. We have that problem on the reggae end. So it was kind of like built to connect Africa and Jamaica in terms of making bookings and different things, you know, more viable on both ends. As I did the conference itself, I now run into the issue where most of the athletes in the countries, because every year we do the conference, I visit 4 African countries. That's where we do each year. And with doing that, some of the athletes in those countries know me. So they'll always ask, Rose, can you come and teach us some sprinting drills, or can you join us for a run and stuff like that? And I said, you know what? Let me just change that and start. And they'll ask me to come by and do motivational speaking. So I just changed it to Bridging the Gap and took out the music. So when I travel for this conference, I am actually doing sports, arts, and music in different countries. So I end up going from 1 conference to 3 conferences each country as well. Well, this year's virtual, and I've combined all 3 into 1 conference. It will be from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. We're going to start off with the athletics first, where we have a list of Olympian and elite athletes and amateurs that are training for the Olympics that will, you know, be talking to them. The topic itself is based on the creative industry. I think that the creative industry is always the one to fall when something happens, like such as a recession. And I think that there's not a lot of, you know, we're not looking out a lot for that industry. Believe it or not, the creative industry was who took this country out of the recession, and it has taken out various places out of recession. But it always seems that whenever this happens, they're always the last, and persons do not pay attention to, okay, the creatives as well. So myself and a few other persons in different countries have been trying to come up with a few things. So for the, in order for this industry to thrive, and the conference is focusing on the creative industry in the athletics, in arts, and in music. So there's a list of different persons across the world that will be joining for that conference, and I am grateful for that as well.
Sounds amazing. How can we sign up or attend? Where's the best way to learn more about that?
So you can go to the website. It's intlstarz.com and look for the conference tab. And on the conference tab, there is a connect button. You can complete that section if persons would like to take part, and we feel as if that they can, you know, there's a fit in terms of what we're doing, then we will most definitely try as much as possible to include persons last minute. But the way that I have it set up is that we're starting off with athletics. There's actually going to be a short film on the athletics side that comes out as well. Of course, I did that documentary, that short film. It's based on an Olympic athlete out of Jamaica. And so it will be debuting on the morning of December 12th. From 12 to 2, we are going to have the virtual artists. They're going to be painting to music, and their finished work will be available for auction 5 to 6 p.m. That will be the auction for everything that was painted. And from 2 to 4 p.m., it's basically music. So we have different persons across the world that will be tapping in from different countries, from Sweden, the UK, Africa, Jamaica, Canada, that we'll be talking about, what COVID has presented, and for persons to connect, doing business going to 2021, and how to basically assist and help the creatives with a solid income going forward. And then after the auction is finished, 5 to 6, we will have live performances. Various artists across the world is going to be performing from 6 to 9 p.m.
That sounds incredible.
So yeah, we might have to bring on DJ Run That, to spin a few tracks.
I'll run a few.
Spin a few tracks between 6 to 9 and to get it going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Yeah, well, wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience before we wrap it up?
Well, for the audience themselves, they can check me out. International stars across the major platforms. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And it's not international as writing out the word. It's INTL, and it stars with a Z, STARZ. So you can check me out. You can send me a message. If I don't get back to you right away, by all means, please do not be mad at me, because you're here. I do a lot of different things. There's a lot going on. But I always do my best to answer everyone that actually reaches out, to me, that has to do with business as well. Go out, check out Anthropology. The short film is on YouTube. It's called Making Anthropology Album, where you can hear we came up with the title, what anthropology is all about. Believe it or not, a lot of what's going on right now is based on anthropology. COVID and all of the above. And the thing is, I wrote the song before COVID, and it played out right in front. So I think that's one of the reasons as well. People that's able to know what anthropology is about, and to actually listen to the song and knowing what the meaning is behind it. For instance, one part of the song where it talks about angels in white robes, who are not real friends but are foes, are actually in reference to the medical community, which anthropology teaches us that our medicine should be our food, or food should be our medicine. So if our food should be our medicine, why is it that, and we are judged on anthropology, by how we look, we are already judged by that. Why is it that our food is not our medicine? And so everything is, here's a medication and you'll be fine. I'm not against medication, but I'm saying that what needs to be paid attention to, or to be instilled, is more persons that are actually using food as their medicine, and not necessarily the drugs that we're putting in our body. So anthropology is very deep, and I do think there are greater things to come in terms of that, because I'm not true with it. It's sometimes people put on an album and it's like they put out an album and that's it. That's not what it should be. This is going to be on at least until next year. The ebook hasn't come out as yet. There's a lot more that is going to happen in terms of this anthropology. So, but for now, you can check out Making Anthropology Album on YouTube, and the song is available for purchase across all major digital platforms, as well as it can be streamed on platforms such as Spotify. And the artist name is Amaze. So it's Anthropology by Amaze.
All right, everybody, please go check that out. Follow Rose Green International Stars on all social media platforms. Tune into the conference. She is amazing. Thank you so much. That was like really inspiring and motivating. Like I almost needed that. Like I needed that. Like I did need that. Like I'm like sometimes I don't have the motivation. I mean, like COVID's heavy, like homeschooling's heavy, like all of it. But like hearing everything that you were up to, like gave me like a boost. So thank you.
Yeah, I have those days as well where I need motivation and I have to try and figure it out. But me getting motivated is actually shutting everything off and just taking a day off or taking a few hours off and talking to the man upstairs, have a one-on-one with them, because you could be talking to somebody else and it's just talking in vain as well, or they may be going through something worse than me trying to stay motivated. So that's it's a lot to do in one day in terms of the various things. So I always try to take one day, at least one day off, where I don't use technology or at all. It's just my time away from everything else. Because I'm always, whatever I do involves the digital and being on the platforms, and sometimes you just need a break. And as you say, motivation, learning to stay motivated.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and until next time, we'll see you soon.
I wanted to thank everybody for tuning into the Royal Queens Rising podcast, all of my amazing guests, and all of the subscribers. Thank you so much for being a part of this. If you would like to be a guest or you know somebody that should be featured, please send them my way. You can reach me on my website, www.djrenda.com.